but a sinking ship. Don't do this to me, Harry. The Ohio State. It's Ohio State. What do you mean, the? 312-988-15.
Hello?
You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Welcome in, welcome back, folks. Are people are people wound a little tight or what? This chat is kind of a disaster this morning for no reason, completely out of nowhere for no reason. This chat's kind of a disaster. Why? What is going on? I don't understand. What is going on? Why is it like? Why? I'm thinking, silly Johnny, naive little Johnny boy, I'm going to log in and everybody's going to be in a good mood that we get to watch the other teams play football, but we don't have to play. We already punched our ticket. And you sit there and you see who we might play based on who wins a little. It's up to everybody be in a good mood. No. People are not all in a good mood. What the hell is going on? It's the most Notre Dame-iest thing. We got people. I just don't understand, man. I don't understand. Listen, here's what I've been thinking about as we get into this. We have some good phone calls lined up here. If you're on hold, you're going to be on the air. I'll get to you early. I'm not going to make you wait a half hour this time. I promise. Maybe. Things are just crazy. You got things. Listen. These are odd times we're living in Notre Dame land, and I feel some of that. It almost feels like you're living in a Notre Dame video game, and you just got extra lives. Doesn't it? It's what it kind of feels like to me. Like you're in some, like the original Mario or some do-do-do-do-do-do, and you got a bunch of extra lives, and now you're on kind of bonus time, and some people are managing that very conservatively. And other people are kind of going wild with it, taking advantage of the opportunity to get crazy. What's going on? I'm just saying. Here's what I've been thinking about, you guys. I've been thinking about how awesome this bonus time is. Even the people in the chat that I know are Notre Dame fans, but you're in here stressing out. I know you're Notre Dame fans, and you're in here stressing out, okay? And I see some of the negativity, and I see some of the questions, and I see some of it. And I don't know where it's coming from other than you people love Notre Dame, and you're hedging against your own emotions, and you're protecting yourself a little bit. That's what I think is genuinely going on with some folks here. They're here every day. I know they love Notre Dame in their bones. It's in their heart. It's in their soul. This is an emotional hedge. The trolling and the rip in Notre Dame and I'm telling you, it's an emotional hedge for these people. That is how they protect themselves against buying in and getting hurt, is by positioning themselves negatively. I'm telling you, there's something to that. It's a psychological thing. There's nothing wrong with being in a good mood this time of the year. There's nothing wrong with being in a good mood this time of the year. It is... Listen, here's what I've been thinking about. Are you feeling yet just how important it is that Notre Dame be a part of this tournament almost every single year? Are you feeling it already, how it is totally 100% that in the playoffs and everybody else is dead to the country and doesn't matter at all? You could say it always was that way. It's triple always what it was now. You are either in that 12 and it's awesome and everybody's focusing on you, or you don't exist. It is really, really important that I hope everybody's learning that. I'm thinking about this. You, aside from the money that Notre Dame only gets if it makes the field, man, this is important to have this extra run of being relevant, this extra run of people talking about you in a good light, like perceptually around the country. It's a big deal, and I'm already feeling it. Everybody else is it's like I feel like they're having funerals for their team, and here we are, right? Our season is still alive and growing. Other people's seasons are winding down and dying. So enjoy it. So I think some people are I really do think some people are hedging emotionally with this. So you got to be in it to win it. Now that you're in it, go ahead and win it. We said it before, you guys. There is no dominant head and shoulders above everybody else team this year. There just isn't. So if you get hot and you get a good draw in this bracket, there's no reason you can't go. You can make a run. That's how you got to think about it. That's how you got to think about it. Manny, I see you. I'll go to you. My main man, my Manny Martinez. Okay, so that's how I'm looking at it. You could be totally out of the playoff, begging your fan base for money on signing day. There's other coaches that are in our atmosphere that you could have done that. Instead of preparing for the playoff, you could have done that, right? And you could have just said, if you guys want better players, you got to give me more money. That could have been the messaging. So I'm just saying, be thankful for where we're at. As always, thanks everybody for being here. You can find the program on YouTube. Do it, subscribe if you have. I appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. Notifications on that way you don't miss anything. Twitter, search bar Always Irish, Rat, Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only, anywhere you want it, you can get it. If you don't want to see my face, nobody blames you for that. Trust me. How do you think I feel every stupid day? Patreon.com/Always Irish. He the former captain. He the leading tackler. It's Mike Goolsby and myself. Jack Sullivan joined us last night. ND Recruiting 01. 2 hours breaking down film, just going over everything with the signing class, big picture, small picture, wrapping it in this year, next year. We covered a lot of stuff. 2 hours. It's awesome. That episode's available for anybody to watch over there. Go there when we're done here. If you want to join full season until whenever the Notre Dame run is over, promo code NDCFP, get yourself a discount. We want as many people joining in for this kind of intensity as long as we could run the string out. Hunter Peterson, $5 holler. I'm pumped for the playoffs. I believe if we stay out, we have a chance. There's not one team miles above everybody else. I'm with you. I'm totally with you. I've seen everybody look vulnerable, and there's just no reason at all Notre Dame feel good about it. That doesn't mean I still don't think if you had your choice, I wouldn't pick Alabama number one team to play like roster rise right away. I wouldn't, but a lot of you want it. Jay Sullivan, Bama looking at a snowy Indy Stadium. Shit. I'm telling you, I don't know what to expect there, man. I'm just telling you, I don't know what to expect there. I see the videos and pictures coming out of South Bend of that snow and all that. I'm just telling you guys, for a round one game, that's a lot of talent you're asking for compared to some other paths that you have a higher percentage of advancing the next round, which is the overall goal. That's all I'm going to say about it. It doesn't mean I'm scared of Alabama. It doesn't mean there's no path to beat Alabama. But I think you're foolish if you were given a bunch of opportunities and said, yeah, I want that one first. That makes no logical sense. You should want the one that gives you the most likely chance of advancing in the next round. That is not a five-star laden Alabama roster. It's just not. So it isn't afraid. It isn't scared. It's an objective look at the rosters you may match up with. That's it. I'm not spending the whole time debating this with people. It's just logic to me. And it's like, well, this might be the best year to get them. Okay, do it in another round, not round one, where you have a 30-year bowl thing you're trying to erase. I understand what you're saying, but the point is having it round one, not at all. That is not ideal. You don't maneuver yourself into maybe the 5 or 6 seed or whatever to get a 5-star roster as your treat. That doesn't mean you're scared of it. I'm just acknowledging that is a bad luck draw when you navigate yourself into home playoff position. You don't think you're getting that roster, not record, roster, not record, roster. And you cannot debate to me the odds of Notre Dame beating an Arizona State team in South Bend are not significantly higher than Alabama, no matter what you think of Alabama this year or Notre Dame. It's just a fact. This isn't even an opinion. It's not even an opinion. So we're going to find out what happens. All right. Let's get my main man in here, and then we'll get everybody on board. Bruce, I got you next. What's going on?
Johnny, are you there?
Oh, I'm there.
Can you hear me? Am I clear?
Yep.
Okay, so 3 things, Johnny, real quick. Hey, why do you guys give the SEC so much credit? May I ask? Why? Why do you guys?
Listen.
I've gone back and forth with Gilmore. But why do you guys give them so much credit?
I do not think there is a debate that Alabama has a talent-rich and deep roster full of 4- and 5-star guys on their roster. That is not, there's nothing more or less to it than that. That is just a fact. It's just a fact that that is one of the most talented top 3-4 roster talent-wise in the whole entire country. Regardless of what you think of the whole conference top to bottom, I'm looking at roster on roster. That is one of the, in the top 4 probably most talented rosters in the country, and I respect that talent.
Oh, okay. I can respect that answer. But Johnny, how many national titles do they have?
A bunch, don't they?
Like 17, right?
Okay.
Like 17. Okay. But if Notre Dame, if because they're self-proclaimed national titles, just like the way UCF did a few years ago.
Okay.
If we did that, we'd have 23. We'd have more than everybody.
Listen, my main man, I don't like being positioned like I'm defending the SEC. All I'm saying is it's an objective fact that it would be Notre Dame's odds of winning a round 1 game and advancing are much higher if they match up with an Arizona State roster than an Alabama 4- and 5-star roster. I'm not looking at the thing overall and analyzing every SEC team against and all these other years. I'm like just looking at that right in front of me, and that's what I see.
No, Johnny. So are you there?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
No, Johnny. I'm not trying to fight with you, and I agree with that. That Alabama team in 2012, yeah, man. No one was going to beat that team. No one was going to beat that team. Like they were dominant. They were ugly. They were, they were.
Yeah, this isn't that though, right? Like I can totally acknowledge. I'm not saying it. This is like a Saban era Alabama. No. This is a very, very gettable Alabama team and all that. Like there are levels to this. They are very beatable. I'm not saying Notre Dame can't find a path to victory. It's just significantly higher against Arizona State statistically than it would be Alabama.
No, right. And so now they're saying this SEC chaos, right? What these punks did, they added a 13th game. Okay, remember when they added the SEC title game? They added a 13th game to bring them up. Okay, they play 3 junior high teams a year. It's funny that Georgia is getting handled by Georgia Tech, and the refs need to save them because they played Mercer the week before that, or was it Alabama? I can't remember. And they scored 21 points on them. Like I'm so sick of everybody giving the SEC so much credit. They're dog shit, man. They are dog shit. They're the biggest dog shit. Wannabe tough guy conference. And Johnny, I'm not trying to give you a hard time. I'm not. I love you to death, man. I do. You got my undying loyalty. And even like Gilmore.
Martin, it's tough though because you're not disagreeing with my point that this roster that Notre Dame might face in round 1 is loaded with talent and is a top 3 to 4 talent wise. So like I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying is totally true too. It's just making us mad.
No. It is. But you know what? The committee's gonna rig it. They're gonna put Penn State or Indiana because they know that's cold weather. They're used to it. They're going to rig it. Trust me, they're going to rig it instead of sending Alabama up north or Ole Miss up north. That's all I'm saying. Like, Alabama wasn't shit. Like, they were only good the Sean Alexander years. And for like 10 years after that, they weren't dogs. They weren't shit. When they came, like Utah handed them their ass in the Sugar Bowl. I hate the SEC. I hate how they rigged it. I hate how they manipulated college football. Like, I hate that conference, man. Like, I don't hate USC or Michigan that bad, but like, I hate the SEC, man. I absolutely hate it.
So are you saying you would prefer, like, if you had your choice of matchup for Notre Dame in round 1, you would prefer Alabama you think this would be the year to jump their bones, get that credibility and get that big win on over them? Is that what you would choose, or you just wouldn't mind if it lined up that way and you got the opportunity? How are you looking at this?
No, if they had Alabama right there in South Bend, man, hand them their ass. And, and Gilmore, we've gone back and forth, but Gilmore makes great points. He does. He actually takes, like me, I'm just hey, he's an analytics guy, right? He's like, on 3rd and 3, they do this, and he's attending to you guys, right? I'm like, hey man, just run where they're not. You know what I mean? But here's the thing. Freeman did a great job with everybody that got injured, right? Hey, Al Washington. Everybody was ripping on Al Washington. He did an amazing job, right, with that D-line. But this is what I'm telling you. If that Alabama team comes up, hand them their ass. Hand them their ass, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm so sick of everybody. Sorry, Johnny. But anyways.
Listen, no, I get it, man. I get it. I don't like how much, I don't get how much love and power and everything. I understand why people don't like that or whatever. I'm just looking at this very, very specific instance. And it would just, I think it's a tough talent on talent draw to move that high in the rankings, and your treat is an Alabama roster with this much talent. But what I can't get people to understand, man, is that doesn't mean I'm saying we're scared. There's a difference. You guys got to understand enough to get what I'm saying, that doesn't mean you're scared. Quit typing and don't be scared in the chat. Acknowledging what these rosters are objectively is not mean you're scared. It just means you're objectively acknowledging the reality, and you're going to have to play better to beat an Alabama roster than you are an Arizona State roster. That's just a fact of life that I'm acknowledging. That's all I'm saying. That doesn't mean I'm scared. If that's who you get, you go beat them. I'm just saying some of these percentages are going to swing a lot and be a lot higher or lower in your probability of winning depending on the roster. That's all I'm saying.
No, Johnny, and I agree with you. But this is what I come back and forth with Gilmore. But he is right. Oregon's roster, half of those players are from California. No one's gonna beat that team, man. Watch. No one's gonna beat that team. If we meet them in the finals, good luck to us, because no one's gonna beat that team. They're well rounded. That player, he's good. That coach, he's got him good, man. Just watch. But no, I agree with you, Johnny. But the thing is, they say this SEC chaos because they have to travel north to Texas now. And Johnny, that's all I'm telling you, man. That Freeman's not going nowhere, man. He loves Notre Dame. He's not going nowhere.
Yeah, that's another domino to fall here. Is there some sort of negotiations ongoing about an extension or something like that? That is another question people have. I'm not believing all the NFL rumors. Too vague, too weird to feel like putting things out there to negotiate. I don't know. So that's an ongoing thing in the background there too. Manny, I'm not my main man Martinez. I ain't telling you what to think. I love your love your hatred for the SEC. I share a lot of it. All my point is for round one roster matchup, Alabama's a tough draw for what you think you'll get at the bottom of a bracket. That's all I'm saying.
No, buddy, and I understand, man. And watch, you're gonna see that they're gonna be dethroned. They did everything to rob Georgia Tech, man. Georgia Tech handed them their ass. But Johnny, like I tell you, man, I love you. Onward Notre Dame. Everybody's gonna see what here come the Irish. You know what I mean? And they better be ready for it, man. Because we got the most loaded defense in the country. Al Washington, man. Everybody was ripping him. Look what he did, man. Al Washington is my man, bro.
Yeah, this is going to be fun no matter who we get, man. It's going to be fun. And next week will be fun to talk about it because we'll actually have a matchup. But listen, man, I appreciate your hatred for that conference. I really do. Never change.
I love you, Johnny, man. Onward Notre Dame. I'm out, man.
Have a good one. Take care. Have a good weekend. Enjoy some non-Notre Dame football there. Commander Luke, $5 holler. Regardless of who we're matched up against, not practicing all week doesn't seem like a good idea. Here's what you got to count on. You got to count on, number one, whatever formula Freeman and the staff used to get ready for A&M was the right one. We talked about this all summer and into August leading into that opening game in College Station. We spoke about This team has got to be ready for this environment and the weather and the heat and the physicality and a athletic SEC, whatever, all this different stuff, the crowd, the weird cult people cheering, everything, right? And we said Freeman's got to have this thing tuned up right where they're ready to go for this moment. You got to be totally ready. And we're going to find out really early whether they are or not. They were. They physically held up the whole time. They were crisp. Like, they played the game they needed to play to get the result they got against Texas A&M. So you got to trust that whatever gauge that had them calculating that out to be just about right, they can do that again here. And you better bet some of it is probably people are banged and bruised up, and they maybe just need a little physical break. And I know nobody wants to hear that. You want to keep the physicality going, keep hitting, stay crisp. I understand all that. My guess would be there's a lot of even just bumps and bruises where guys are not 100% that aren't showing up on an injury list. I think guys maybe need a little bit of a reset, and then they can build back up. But that's what gives me confidence is they've done this before, and they've done a good job of it. Also, Freeman has not lost coming out of a bye. So he's done pretty good with the week after having a break, whatever. So I don't know. Maybe it's the wrong decision. I don't know. I'm just guessing what might be involved here. So there's certain people that are saying, like, they want Bama, that position, and not wanting them's weak. Other people are saying, give me the easiest path possible. Mathematically, wanting the easiest path possible is the correct choice, and there's no debating that. There just isn't. Mathematically speaking, you should want whatever roster matchup makes it the most likely percentage odds in your favor that you're going to advance to the next round. Mathematically, that's the correct way to view this entire situation. Anything else, and you got to admit you're valuing things beyond the biggest thing that matters, whether that be pride or wanting to shut up SEC fans and beat Alabama to prove a point. Like, whatever it is, you're admitting that it's having more fan credibility or whatever. But I'm going to tell you this right now. You know what's going to happen. If it was Alabama and Notre Dame beat Alabama, then it's going to be, what is this 4-loss Alabama? Notre Dame, you don't get no credit for beating 4-loss Alabama. Why weren't you beating them when they had Nick Saban? Why weren't you beating them when they had Nick Saban? You're going to get no credit. And they're going to go, it's a 4-loss Alabama team. Who cares? So you're not going to get credit for it anyway. If you're somebody that wants credit for it on the Notre Dame side, you ain't getting it. You ain't getting it. That's what's going to happen. It's the same thing as Navy and Army, and everybody's trying to, Notre Dame's going to get upset by Navy and Army all time on ESPN all week. These are the best Army and Navy teams we've ever seen. Notre Dame's on lookout alert. Oh, boy. Notre Dame lays the wood to these teams, and suddenly they're going, we got to consider keeping Notre Dame out of this playoff. You know why? They're scheduling Army and Navy, and then they want credit for a win. What do they think they're doing? The disingenuousness of this whole ecosystem makes me sick. The disingenuousness of this entire system makes me sick. Hypocrisy rules the day. Hypocrisy rules the day, man, in America. I'm sorry. Both political parties, all of it. Hypocrisy rules the day. Don't make it political. I said both, and I mean both. It is hypocrisy rules the day, man. And everybody gets away with it all the time. And they get away with it with Notre Dame too. And nobody bats an eye. They have one position and then it's proven wrong and they just go on to the next position and nobody even has to acknowledge they were dead wrong about anything or change their position on anything. It bothers me. They get away with the hypocrisy all the time. You're not getting any credit for Bama. It's going to make you feel better if you're an idiot like me that thought maybe you had a chance at a title in 2012, only to learn ultimate not so fast, my friend. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. I want revenge for that too. Trust me. Me and Pat left a Mexican all-inclusive vacation to be home for that game. What a mistake. We were drinking beers and smoking cigars by the Mexican Ocean with a bunch of college friends. And what did me and Pat do? Well, we better change our flight, cut this tropical vacation short, and head back to watch that game. Gotta be there for that. I want revenge for this stuff too. Son of a buck. I got to get this in real quick. I'm going to Bruce. I'm going to the calls. God, I love this show. You never know where it's going to go. I love it. Here's my take on the recruiting class. Marcus Freeman's strength is relationship building and recruiting. I think things are proven to be a little more difficult with NIL and some of the changes with certain things with college football is proven to be a little more of a challenge than what anybody wanted it to be. And it's on Freeman and Chad to overcome that. I need these classes to be, according to 247, I need them to be 6, 7, 8, 9 is where I want them to be. That's where we need to get this. I'm looking at the 247. That's just the one I use for reference. I know some of them have us different places on there. I think we were 12. 6, 7, 8, 9 somewhere. I want you under 10. I need it in there from now on. You got to do it. You got to figure out how to hold the guys at the top end of your class, whatever you got to do. That's where I need it to be. Evaluations. Yes, this staff does a really, really good job, you guys. Hear me. Whenever we have this discussion, people will bring up the evaluations. They will point to many guys on Notre Dame's roster that were not highly thought of with stars, but that the staff identified as talent and then developed them, and now they're winning players for Notre Dame on the field every week. Okay, this staff has done a really, really good job of identifying those type of guys, and it's great. Okay, here's the thing, though. That doesn't, because you're good at that, doesn't mean that you need to lean on that. You need to land more 4- and 5-star guys where you don't have to over-evaluate it. Everybody in the industry agrees this guy's a dog, and everybody knows it, which makes him a low-risk, high-star recruit. You need way more of those to where you don't have to evaluate. Everybody agrees they're just good. That needs to be 2/3 of your class. That 1/3 at the bottom is where that evaluation takes place. So I get when people are saying, but there's such good evaluation. That's kind of a Weasley way to get out of not landing more top-end guys, to be honest. You need to do that evaluation stuff, but do it with less guys and have more at the top that are heavily weighted. Now, wide receiver, defensive line, since they admitted that they're staying in-house at quarterback for next year, which is its own really interesting dynamic because you're going to have a new first-time quarterback probably, and you're going to be opening in Miami, and you have like 6 tough games in a row that are going to make or break the year before you even think about getting a Halloween costume. Okay? Before you even go to Spirit Halloween. The season's going to be decided whether Notre Dame's in the playoff or not. So you should have a really good offensive line, but you're going to have a new quarterback. Oh, buddy, it's going to get interesting. Let's worry about this season before I worry about next season. I'm going to have a stroke. Okay? I'm worked up today, people. This is getting too real. Too real. I think we're all losing it. Since you're going to save money on NIL that you've been giving these quarterbacks, you have more money to go get a wide receiver and a D lineman. Good ones are going to be expensive. I don't care. You shouldn't care. It's not your money. Get them and get some good ones. You got to do something. Get some good receiver. And D line, you're going to have to pay bigger than market value. Just pay it. It is in your money. Who cares? Just pay it. Just pay it. Okay? Bruce doesn't like the SEC either. We're going to have a string of SEC haters. So here we go. Bruce doesn't like the SEC either. Good morning, buddy.
Morning, John. How you doing, brother?
Oh, I love it. I love it, Bruce. This is normally, Bruce, where was the Notre Dame fan base 1 year ago this week? Do you remember? I remember. Everyone was losing their minds because everybody was going into the portal. All the wide receivers left. Things were burning down, and everybody was in a horrible mood. That was 1 year ago this week. We're in a much better spot, Bruce.
I think that says a lot about what Marcus Freeman and that staff have built and developed over time, and hopefully will continue to do. But real quick, I wanted to, because obviously I'm always taking notes while you're talking. So first, you got to stop stealing my points, man. You're 100% right about the Alabama piece.
I think dangerous minds think alike, Bruce. It's scary over here.
Absolutely.
Do you get what I'm saying, Bruce? But am I
Yeah.
saying it the right? Do you get what I'm saying? That like I'm not scared of them, but I do want to acknowledge there's a lot of talent there, man, and that's a rough round one talent matchup. That's it.
No. I get that, but like I texted you before, I want them because I want to be up there in freaking freezing rain and possible snow, and it being the coldest environment 95% of these freaking kids have ever played in, and us putting that defense on them. I want that, right? I want us to pound the rock on the ground the way Notre Dame can do. I truly believe that if they come up to our house, we will beat them. And for me personally, and you know this about me, John, it will warm my freaking heart to watch Notre Dame beat a power from the SEC. And that same power being the banner franchise of that conference, it will warm my heart to watch them lose 2 years in a row in the playoff to a team from the North.
And now listen,
that will make me feel good. But
I want it. I feel you on that. I want that. But does it have to be round one? That's my only complaint, is that it's a tough roster matchup draw in for round one when you're in Notre Dame's position. Like, I want what you're saying in round three. Like, I just don't prefer it round one.
John, I get what you're saying, but to me, the benefit is having it at home and doing it there. That's the biggest benefit that will, I'm not going to say negate,
that's a good argument.
Close that talent gap roster-wise.
That's a good argument. That I totally get that. I think that is a good argument. And it's just going to be really interesting. Bruce, I got to admit, when I pictured Notre Dame navigating into the 5 or the 6 seed, the reward I had in my mind for doing that was not a roster like Alabama's talent-wise. And I think I admit that is where I'm struggling with this. It was very much more of like an Arizona State, a Boise State, a BYU type situation is what I was imagining the bottom of that bracket more looking like. So I think I just was a little surprised it all worked out to where it's that 4 or 5-star roster lining up. And I admit I just wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. So the other thing, I wanted to respond to the previous caller. Trust me, no one hates the SEC more than I do. No one on God's green earth hates the SEC more than I do. And I live here. I'm surrounded by it. But that said, I have to be objective and I have to be fair. And since 2008, they have had 5 different programs win national championships. Matter of fact, 3 of them have won more than one national championship. That's why everybody gives the benefit of the doubt to the SEC. Now, does that mean that during the 14 playoff era and the BCS era that there wasn't manipulation going on with the rankings? And you and I have talked about this to help put the SEC teams in position where they would always be near the top, and so that when they played each other and they beat each other, the losses didn't hurt them. Mm-hmm. No, that is absolutely true. I've done all the research on that. All that said, they still got 5 programs in the last freaking 17 years that won championships. No other conference can come close to that. And then, even if you look at it, when you look at the next level, I actually did this research yesterday. In the last 10 years in the NFL, the SEC, as much as I hate to admit it, has more first-team All-Pros than any other conference. Like, they got to get their credit. I hate them. They do manipulate things. We know what type of power that they wield in the world of college football, and they certainly take advantage of that, but it's all true. And I hate it, but, we got to take that for data. As who was that said take that for data? Anyway, we still have to do, because that stuff is real and it's out there. I also heard him say that he thinks Oregon would give Notre Dame problems. I think that's what he said, because they're a very well-rounded team. I believe Notre Dame beats Oregon if they play them. And the reason I say that is because obviously we know Notre Dame has an elite secondary. Oregon only has one really outstanding wide receiver, if I'm not mistaken. On top of that, Ashton Gentry, the star running back from Boise State, ran for about $190 on those guys. We have a running back room. You know what I'm saying? Not one guy, a running back room. So if he can get 190, Notre Dame can get 220, 250 on the whole against them on the ground. So I believe that Notre Dame is absolutely in a position where they can beat, if they play a perfect game, just about any team in this field. Because every other team defensively always has to still account for Riley Leonard's legs. And that is huge when you're talking about defensive scheming. Think about it. When you play defense in football, and I'm sure Goolsby will tell you this, most of the time the defense has an 11 on 10 advantage, right? Because you don't generally have to worry about the quarterback going anywhere. But when you have a mobile quarterback, now you have to play full 11 on 11. So it's a little different. So I do believe that Notre Dame has a legitimate opportunity. If they play Oregon, they could beat them.
It's interesting. Here's the only scenario I don't like for Notre Dame that I would feel very badly about would be, I don't care what round it is, I don't care who the matchup is. Notre Dame is not built to come from behind. Notre Dame cannot afford to get in a position down a few scores on one of these games and need to come back. I just don't see Notre Dame throwing their way back in it. Like it's going to be very, very important that Notre Dame keep that defense or whatever you want to say, keeps that all these games close, because that's the one thing where I think Notre Dame would be screwed. They're not built for that life.
I agree.
And if they can avoid that situation, they should be in it in all these games.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that, John. But what I'll say about that, and this is something that we haven't had the benefit of in previous years, Notre Dame's defense, I believe, led the country in pick sixes. I believe they led the league in the country in turnovers forced. So the benefit is Notre Dame's defense also gets you extra possessions against. Now, of course, the teams in the playoffs are better, so theoretically they won't turn it over as much. But even against an elite passing offense like we just saw last week, look at that, 2 pick sixes. Granted, that's a freshman and so on and so forth. But Notre Dame's defense, especially that secondary, can get you extra possessions. And I think that's another thing that can help Notre Dame have success and stay in these games even against a better team.
Yeah, it's interesting. And so what are we looking at? The way I understand, I've been told this, I ain't smart enough to figure it all out. You would want, maybe if you wanted to avoid Bama, or you would want root for Oregon to beat Penn State pretty handily. Maybe Penn State drops down if it's very bad looking. And then you would want Clemson over to win the ACC. And then maybe they can't keep SMU in and it bumps Bama out. I don't know. That's what people are saying. Maybe a path for anybody that wanted to try and avoid a Bama roster round one. I don't know.
Well, listen, John, I wouldn't mind any of that. Now, don't get me wrong. I would love to see us have Bama at home and beat them, but I wouldn't mind any of that. To the point you made earlier, I'd love to see Arizona State. That's another warm weather team that would have to come up there, and I doubt they can handle Notre Dame's physicality. But they have a very good running back as well, and I think they have like an NFL wide receiver on that roster. So, but again, I'm not concerned with anyone's passing game in the country except maybe Texas, because Notre Dame's secondary, I believe in them. But 2 more quick notes and then I'm gone. Ronald McDonald in the chat earlier says that Notre Dame can't beat Bama. Did he forget Bama got smoked by Oklahoma? Did he forget that? And Oklahoma's not good this year. So, I understand the transitive property is not the end-all, be-all in sports. It doesn't always work. But this is not the same Bama, right? Yes, they're loaded, but Notre Dame absolutely could beat them if they played them. So that's that. And one more thing. I had a talk yesterday. I called a friend of mine who I went to journalism school with, and he's a big SEC guy. And the only time I heard from this guy all year was right after the NIU game, right? So, of course, he hit me then. So I called him. I says, listen, man, I want to ask you a question about Notre Dame. I know I'm biased, so I accept that. I have no dog in the fight, so help me out here. So I asked him, with all this talk with the college football playoff and all that, it's driving me crazy how we keep hearing all this talk about Notre Dame needs to join a conference, Notre Dame needs to join a conference, blah, blah, blah. And so I asked him, I said, let me ask you, someone who could care less about Notre Dame, what is this obsession with Notre Dame joining a conference? Because, John, as you and I have talked about ad nauseum, if you hate Notre Dame, you're happier that they're not in a conference because it makes it harder for them to win, right? And he flat out told me, he said, honestly, Bruce, I'm going to tell you, there's probably a lot of jealousy involved there. And this is a guy who hates Notre Dame. He's a diehard SEC guy. And I was like, that's real. That's real. And, we talked about it. So I just find it so interesting that people go through all these mental gymnastics to come up with all these different reasons why Notre Dame is this or isn't that and blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the day, somebody who's an SEC guy, born and raised, and loves them, flat out told me it's probably a lot of jealousy. So
yeah,
you know,
it is.
I
I've
just wanted
said
to share
that. I've said that forever to people. I'm like, well, if you think it's so easy, why doesn't your team do it then? Like, there's no rule that there's no rule that you can't break away from the Big Ten and do what we're doing then. And if it's money or if it's you need that support or like what, that's not my problem, man. Life isn't fair. Everybody has their own benefits and challenges. Everybody, like, that's not my problem. If you couldn't afford to do that, like, that's always been my response. If you think it's that easy, why isn't your school doing it? Well, and it comes down to money or needing the support of a conference and all that. So that's a good response to me, Bruce. I like it.
Right. Yeah. And my final point, John, was I was, before the show even came on, I was kind of talking with Commander Luke in the chat. And one of the big things I'm saying is, if you're Marcus Freeman, why would you not be, and I don't know if this is the case, I don't know if you've heard anything about it, but I'm like, why would you not be prepping outside to get ready for the cold? Like, the greatest coach of all time, Bill Belichick, we know, and Brady will tell you, anyone who played for him will tell you, these guys went outside, they practiced in the rain, they practiced in the snow, they practiced in the cold, and that's why they're one of the best, if not the best, inclement weather team that's ever played, those 20-year New England Patriots. You know what I'm saying? So if you're Marcus Freeman, you played for Ohio State, you're from that area, you played for the Chicago Bears, albeit briefly, you know what it is to be in cold, miserable, wet, snowing, Midwestern weather. Get your guys out there, have them prep for that, because if one of these Southern teams comes up, you want to be laughing in their faces while you see them on the sideline freezing, wrapped up in their gigantic coats, trying to keep some heat inside.
Did they say did they say they're not doing that at all, or are they going to ramp up to that, like, for game week? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that either, for sure. Like, I could see some blended thing where you don't want them to be miserable, but you want to expose them to it at the same time enough. I could see that blend making sense. It's a good question by you, and I don't have an answer to.
I got you, man. I got you. Well, listen, John, thanks for the time. I appreciate it as always. Just wanted to call in and
Bruce,
share some of my thoughts.
I got to tell you, man. I got to tell you, if Notre Dame makes a run here and wins something, people are going to want your voice as the backdrop to, like, the DVD they send out, where, like, the championship DVD, and then they're like, and then after embarrassing themselves, Notre Dame kills Purdue. You got to be the soundtrack, man. You got to be the voice.
I tell you what, John, if Notre Dame makes a run and wins something, you and me will do something together.
Oh, I like that, man. I get this voice is your golden ticket, Bruce. I love it. And your thoughts are pretty good too, man. Hey, thanks a lot. Enjoy the games. Enjoy the games on championship week. Tell your son I said hi.
No doubt, man. Have a great one.
Have a good one. See ya. Oh, Bruce is a nice guy. He's a nice guy. Pilney with a $20 holler. OSU in trouble. Holtz living rent-free in Ryan Day's head. That explains the idiotic run game plan for Michigan. Urban is angling for the OSU job again, sending out Chris Carter to expect the natty or bust storyline for Day. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens here. In a lot of ways, you guys, it feels like Urban is the only one who could. It feels to me like Urban Meyer might be Urban or Saban are the only guys that could make that fan base and media contingent happy if they make a change. Can you guys think of anybody else they would accept other than Urban and Saban, probably, if they're going to get rid of Day or whatever, if he falls short of winning a championship or whatever? That's tough. But I will say Ryan Day looks like he's going through something. He looks like a guy in his own head. He just doesn't look right. It doesn't look okay. Landing, maybe. There you go. But man, that's a tough gig to give up when you have to have money and support. I'm going back to the phones. Dr. John, chaos scenario. Penn State wins. Clemson wins. UNLV wins. Georgia wins. ASU versus ISU. We don't care. We get SMU. I just picture Dr. John, like his whole living room is a big whiteboard and he has his different girlfriends with like all the markers and he's changing the seeds and then he's having that move who's winning or losing on this side and then she handles this side of the bracket and everything. And then he's telling, what about to cross this out? What if this team does it? That's what I pictured the math being when he's telling me this. That's what I picture it. Pilney with the $20. Holla. Really, really appreciate it. Roger Dodger saying Ryan Day's stress is apparent. I literally mean that, man. Like, he looks unwell. He looks unwell. Like, he looks like a guy in his own head, and I don't care what anyone says. The video of him standing there watching the fight and the flag planting thing, And the video of him standing there totally in a daze, kind of like he's disassociated from what was going on in the real world. And he didn't jump in to join. He didn't jump in to separate and pull Sawyer. He didn't do any of that. He just kind of stood there in a daze. And it was just like, it was like a seminal moment. It almost just kind of, it's just like it. And he was just checked out and just zoned out. Like, the guy said next to losing his dad at his own hand, the second worst thing in his life was losing to Michigan, and then he goes and loses to him again. Like, dude, like those are the levels for Ryan Day, apparently, with the pressure on this game. Something isn't right. But if you're Ohio State, you got to be real careful what you do and what you wish for. Because when your expectation is to never lose ever, and like that's the bar, it wouldn't take much for you to make a new hire and fall short of it with 2 losses a year. And everybody's miserable because the bar's so high. So it's real weird. But 4 years in a row, you can't really argue with those results. I don't blame the Ohio State people. Are not going to take it. What a mess. What a mess. And it's like, oh, but he's 84-4 against everybody else in the Big Ten. Nobody cares. And let's be honest. A lot of those teams were teams you beat with just your talent. And then 1 or 2 a year are like a big game matchup where you have to scheme things up and play a good game. But most of those are talent games where Notre Dame's just going to crush Purdue. Notre Dame's just going to, or Ohio State's just going to crush Northwestern and Purdue or whatever. Like, I don't know. And they're just going to win a bunch of those games, right? And so it is just a weird dynamic there with Ohio State. And I don't know what they're going to do, but they're all talking like the pressure is if he doesn't win a championship here, force him out. And it's just, you better have Urban or Saban or Lanning lined up then. Like, if you do that, you better have it all. You better have it all lined up. I'm telling you guys, they are literally saying on their podcasts and YouTube shows, even if we win the national championship, I'm not going to be able to celebrate it because you lost to Michigan. You did this embarrassing thing. Like, I'm just literally there with a straight face. I don't know if that sounds crazy to you guys or you get it or not, but like, I'm not an Ohio State or Michigan fan. This is not my battle. This is not my war of hatred. It's not mine to fight for once. But they are literally saying, even if we run the table and win the championship, it doesn't mean anything to me because you got this embarrassment that wouldn't go away, and it's the one it couldn't beat. So they're in a weird spot. They're in a weird spot. And so heard John talk about our Mexico trip ruined by Andy. Yeah, we were literally smoking cigars on the beach in this tropical location, and Pat was changing all of his airline miles to get us a flight back and wheeling and dealing and everything to change it so we could get back. And we did that, and that was the reward. So we could have been on the ocean drinking Coronas and smoking cigars with all of our college friends, but no, we had to fly back early for that winner. Unbelievable. Freeman quietly converted to Catholicism. Last head coach to do that was Rockney. Freeman is genuine. The USC flip is genuine culture guy who will pay dividends. Yeah, all those things are true, Pilney. All those things are true. And listen, I don't care whether the linebacker coach at USC left for the Fresno job or what. I don't care if that happened or not. This was a really, really great get by Marcus Freeman on signing day. I always complain to you guys on signing day, I'm sick of Notre Dame dropping like a rock and only being on the losing end. Why can't we be on the gaining end? Well, there you go. And you gained a great guy. And you know what else? You got the Bass brothers out there. You're getting KVA. I want to see a mane like you wouldn't believe. And I want to see KVA with the mane flowing. And I want to see this dude out there. Madden, not John. I want to see him out there. I want his mane flowing. And I want these dudes cracking heads for multiple years in a row. That's what I want. That's what I want. 480, what do you know? Welcome to the show.
My man, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on? There's a lot going on, man. This is like winning bonus lives in a video game, man. This is a beautiful time to be a Notre Dame fan. What do you think?
Man, I'm telling you, I've been watching all these different college
podcast shows everybody's talking about, the projections, and I've been listening to Freeman and all these different interviews he's been on with Rich Eisen and the Triple Option podcast and other podcast shows, referring to this. To answer Bruce's question about is Freeman going to be practicing outside, he actually did say on the Triple Option podcast that they will be practicing outside.
Good.
They will be practicing outside. He said they were treating this week as a bye week, and he said Saturday they were going to practice, and then he had basically said that I think he also said on Rich Eisen show that he was going to be because Rich Eisen asked him was he going to go like watch the game in the office or whatever. He was like, well, I might watch it in the office, but he said there's some kids are going to get together and watch the game in the Google wherever they're going to watch the game at. So he said he probably hangs around with them a little bit, watches some of the games with them, but they're going to be practicing outside, which I was glad to hear that. And Freeman was like, look, I want to be as cold and frosty as possible.
Yeah.
No matter who we play, so yeah, like, Freeman understands what the opportunity is, having that advantage. And he clearly said, he's like, we want to make this a home advantage for us, being that we're in a cold climate. And I just, man, I'm telling you, man, I watched the new episodes last night of Here Come the Irish, and I'm gonna be honest, man, it's that feeling of the Northern Illinois, man, it stung me so bad, man, watching it again. But to know where we are now, I can it's out. And don't get me wrong, John, how much I went off about that loss. Okay.
Yeah.
But to see where we are now, it's like, wow, man. Like I'm telling you, man, Freeman is different, man. And I have no concerns about where this team can go in this playoff with that man at the helm of this team, because of the way he just knows how to motivate the players, man, get them locked in and prepared to play at a high level against the best competition. If this was 4 or 5 years ago, I'd be concerned. I'll be honest with you. I'd be concerned. Matter of fact, we probably wouldn't even be sitting here talking about playoffs. But here we are. And so the opportunity is here, man. And it's 0-0. It's a new season. Here's the thing that we all got to consider. There is no team that is in this playoff, that will be in this playoff, that has won 4 consecutive games to win the championship. So whoever does it, or even 3 consecutive games to win the championship, no team has done it. So here's a chance for Notre Dame to, number one, rewrite history, being the first team, to host, a home playoff, and then to knock off that 30-year drought of winning the big game, in the postseason, and then win the championship. But then on top of that, being also the first team to win 4 consecutive games in the postseason to win the championship. There's so much at stake here, man. And I'm really excited because I feel like, man, this team is just really at a different level. And, man, like, we got to get it. I was listening to someone say before the season started, it might have been you, John, but Freeman has a window. There's a short stint window right now for somebody in the college football land to really emerge as that next kind of like superpower in terms of dominance, winning the championships. And why not Notre Dame? Like, Freeman has the opportunity right now, man, to really kind of plant his flag and say, okay, hey, Notre Dame is back and we're going to be here. We're not going anywhere. Like, he has the opportunity right now in front of him. And I think he knows that. And so I'm really excited to see where this team goes, man, because, I truly feel like we have a real opportunity, man, to win it all.
What do you think about the path? What do you think about the bracket you're in and the first couple rounds and the matchups? Do you have a preference on, or does it not matter to you? Bring on everybody. If it's Bama, it's Bama. Or do you have a preference that you think is favorable to advance Notre Dame with the highest likely percentage?
Honestly, John, bring on anybody. This team can play anybody, anywhere, anytime, any location, and I have no doubts they will show up and they will take care of business. That's the kind of team, man. I'm telling you, man. That's the kind of team that we're watching. I get, man. That NIU loss was one of the worst losses in the history of this school. But, man, the way they have played, they have been in playoff mode since week 2. After week 2, they have been in playoff mode because they understand that it was one and done.
Yeah.
And, you know, I really feel like that mindset is going to carry on in the postseason because of what's at stake. They know, like, what's at their advantage. And I don't have any doubt, man, that they can play any team right now. Now, personally, look, I'm like Bruce and others, man. I really want a SEC team because I lived in Jacksonville, Florida, in the heart of SEC country.
Yeah, that's right where Bruce. I'm pretty sure that's right where Bruce lives too.
Listen, man.
He's surrounded. He's surrounded by them.
I'm surrounded by them, man, and they cannot stand us. They hate us. They cannot stand us, man. So what better opportunity than to stick it to them in the snow? Like Bruce said, they outside shivering and freezing and huddled up around the barrel, you know, trying to warm their hands while we outside with, you know, just a light shirt on and looking at them like, man, y'all, you know, why y'all so afraid to get out here and play? You know what I'm saying? Because here's the thing, man, like this is what football is. You know, if you go to the NFL and you go to the Browns or the Ravens or Bills, whatever, you got to play in the snow. So it is what it is. You know, it is what it is, man. But I'm really excited, man. I really think this team has a chance, man, to do something different. And, you know, it's like, why not, man? Like, why not take upon an opportunity to really excel at the next level and win it all, man?
I will say this.
We're here, John.
I will say this. And I'm sure this is something you've recognized and appreciated. It really does seem like this team has a different mentality about it, like about the way they go about their football business. It just seems like they're wired a little differently, a little more aggressively, a little more like winners think, a little more ready to make plays instead of being scared. Like I feel like that this team has a little bit of that to it, and I welcome it fully. Do you agree?
I agree, man. I agree. I think that, you know, this team just has a different gear, man, that I have not seen from any Notre Dame team. And I've been watching Notre Dame football for quite some time, you know, and I just haven't seen it, man. And I was telling a friend of mine who's also Notre Dame fan, like we were discussing just like previous times that we've gone into the playoffs, and we're talking ourselves into believing that we're going to win or we're going to hang around, knowing that we don't have really the talent advantage because it was really about the coaching. So we didn't believe that we had the coach really to take us over the hump and win the game. And now, I mean, I have no doubt that we can win the whole championship because of who's coaching, you know, and the talent acquisition, man, that we have. And so bring it on, man. Like, bring it on anytime, anywhere, any place.
Here's what we're going to do.
Is prepared to fight.
Here's what we're going to do. We're about to find out who we're going to play, and we'll find that out, I believe, on Sunday, midday Sunday, I believe, or something like that. We'll find out. I want you to give me a call back next week when we know the matchup, and we'll start building this up, and we'll get a little deeper into the weeds. Anything else, my friend?
Man, nothing else, man. I'm excited. I'm actually going to hang out with a friend tomorrow and watch all the games. So
yeah,
really
enjoy it, man.
And
it'll be a really good day to know you're already in and you can sit back and just watch football stress-free. And then we get serious about history here, man. But stay in touch and enjoy the weekend of games.
Absolutely, man. Go Irish.
Have a good one. Go Irish. Thanks for the call. 559-502 coming up next. The V1 route tape. We made it far, but the NIU loss will stick with us. Even if we make a deep run, everybody will say, yeah, but you lost to NIU and give us no credit. Here's the thing, though, man. I feel like that's the kind of thing trolls on Twitter are going to hold against you no matter what. But I feel like higher thinking level college football viewers or media will kind of wipe the slate clean once you're in the playoff and judge that kind of differently. Don't you think so? Like, once you do, is $5 outlet from V1 Rotate. Is Riley Mills suspended? Benjamin Morrison going to the NFL? And are we going to see Cam Williams in the playoffs? Don't be trying to freak me out with the Riley Mills thing. I think you got to look at that full video. If you're doing anything, you would have to look at that full video and then understand why he did what he did, not just play the clip that frames the Notre Dame guy like the bad guy. It's kind of rubbing me the wrong way. Morrison going to the NFL? I assume so. And I totally assume so. I don't assume otherwise. And are we going to see Cam Williams? Goolsby and I talked about that. And like, I would love to see some package where he sneaks out there for one play and you have him get behind somebody and you don't have to overthink it and you don't have to figure out anything. You don't need to know everything you need to know to be a full scale wide receiver and all the blocking skill. I don't need you to know all that. Can you get the guy out there for one? Can you get the guy out there for one play and sneak up on somebody with his speed? I don't know. The argument against that is, oh yeah, John, the guy wasn't ready all year against any of these bad teams we played. Then you're going to put him in the biggest moment of the year. And then what if something goes wrong? That's the biggest mistake ever. And, you know, you should have known that you can't do that. So that is the ultimate. If it works, you're a hero. And if it doesn't, you're a zero, both the player and the coach. Similar to the Buckner fake punt throw first down. If it works, you're a genius. And if you don't, it's a bad call. So like, that's just kind of the way it is. It's kind of the way it is. This is what I was laughing at in the chat. Just look at the, John says, Notre Dame needs to stop losing to teams like Northern Illinois. You think? Thanks for letting me know that. I would have never been able to figure that out. You know how much time I've spent thinking about it? Like, it's just funny to see it sitting there so plainly. Notre Dame needs to stop losing to teams like Northern. Apparently, they said they've woken up and it'll never happen again. And Freeman's been playing a 2.5-minute low light clip all over the facility of all the worst plays against Northern. I've been told that it's been scared out of them. It's never going to happen again. But just seeing it typed out in such plain English. It's just like the biggest oversimplification of everything of all time. And I saw it in the chat and it just made me freeze and laugh. Like, you know what, John? Damn it, I think you're onto something. I think you might be on the right track here. Oh my God. Let him go, guys. The next one's going to be, it would be ideal if Notre Dame did not lose their next game, or like something like that. It would be like, I need Notre Dame to win the next game, like, or something. Dude, I think I'm losing my mind, man. I genuinely think I'm losing my mind. I'm in such a stupid good mood right now. I'm in such a good mood. Like, I'm serious. Think about what a loser you feel like if your team is not in this thing. You got Ronald saying you're a nerd. It's hard to look at Ronald McDonald and think that he's in the position to be judging anybody else. You really need to think about what a loser you feel like if your team's not in this playoff. You have an obligation. To think about the opposite side of this coin. And right now you're flying high and whatever. And on the other side of it is 12 teams, fan bases are all excited to have a chance to win it all and have all this money coming in and attention and all this stuff and more games and another month added to the season and all this stuff. Right? And then there's people that just, you don't have anything. You're playing in a bowl. No one is going to care about it all. And it's depressing. And all the air's out of the balloon and no one cares. it is a big deal to make this thing, and it isn't just for that $16 million they get right to the football program for doing it, like, or to the university or whatever. So I don't know, but ND needs to stop losing to teams like Northern Illinois. I gotta say, it may be the chat of the year. It may be the chat of the year. Do I eat ramen? We used to eat that in college, right? Isn't that the little thing you put in the soup and it eats up? We used to eat that in college. Not so much anymore. Not so much anymore. Oh, can I complain about macaroni and cheese? You got a 3-year-old, you end up having a lot of macaroni and cheese. Crying belly. I can always count on you to come in here and rip the host on the show that you're supporting. Sometimes I just don't understand. Over easy. I don't know what that means. If that means the baby chicken's in there moving around all slimy or whatever, I'm not doing it. Scrambled eggs or nothing. I don't need slimy baby chicken there all over the bowl, all over the plate, getting on everything else. I'm not interested. Scrambled eggs where there's no runny baby chickens. I'm not doing that. No. Okay? Absolutely not. Back to my macaroni and cheese rant. Here's my contention. My contention is the tube macaroni and cheese, the original, are slimy and taste weird. The shapes that are like Scooby-Doo or Elsa or whatever for Frozen, totally different kind of pasta. It catches the cheese in the little nooks and crannies of the design of the Scooby-Doo characters or whatever, and they taste 100% better. But the original tubes are slimy to me, and they taste gross. But the shapes, it's a different made pasta noodle, and the little nooks, they have a different texture, and they hold the cheese differently, and they're way better. Those slimy tubes are horrible. That is, I don't know if anybody else has realized that or not. I'll drink a little eggnog. That may surprise people. I'll drink a little, like 1 cup of eggnog is good for a year. 1 cup of eggnog is good for a year. That's about it. I'll have the taste for just that like once a year, and that's it. And that's usually about the max for me. That's about the max for me. So I don't know. Look at this. Taking a shot at the host. Happy holidays. John jokes about basic commentary, but after shows him saying everybody's wound tight and equally as mundane as everybody knows. Well, then leave. That's my answer. Leave. It's fine. You're not going to hurt my feelings. It's fine. You've been drinking the eggnog? 559, you're on the line. What's going on? I can always count on you crying. What's going on, 559?
What's up, John? How's it going?
It's going well, man. It's going well. I'm excited, dude. This is all breaking history for Notre Dame, and I'm excited that we're a part of it, and we all get to experience it, however far it's going to go.
So I agree with Martinez. I agree with Bruce, and I agree with 408 because the reason I say that, and I told you one of the first times I called you, any place, anytime, anywhere. We are Notre Dame. And if you want that respect, then you don't wait around on who's going to be or who it might be. We go after the big dog.
Yeah.
If you want that respect and you want that national recognition and you want to put some respect behind Notre Dame, then we should not be over here debating on who it might be, who it could be, who we want to be. No. That could have, would have, should have been, never been. We're going to play whoever in the hell they put on us, and we're going to do our job and smack their ass and take them home and let them know never come to South Bend in the cold. Why? Because they got their ass whooped. That's one.
I like
2,
that.
I told you Ohio State. I got to tell you about Ohio State. You're going to realize you guys had Dumbo over there, and you're going to want my coach. And guess what? He's our golden ticket. He ain't going nowhere. He's starting with us. He's staying with us because he loves Notre Dame, and we love him too. And we're now going to have a coach like him, Blue Host, that understands the university, believes in the university, and believes in the students and the body of what Notre Dame can do for his players and for his family. So therefore, hush up. Let's get him signed and let's put this to bed already.
Yeah, it's
now.
Listen, man, I respect that perspective, and it's like, hey, give me whatever. I'm not afraid of it. I have confidence in this team. Whatever. I think you could. I'm fine with that. It's just, we're gonna know soon enough. I think the anxiety I feel anxiety in this fan base just about you want to know. Everybody wants to know what day is the game, what time is the game, and who is it going to be, and what else does that bracket look like? And I feel that people are on edge waiting to figure it out.
And I get that, John. I get that. Like the other day, look, John, this is how much I love Notre Dame. And this is how much I like calling your show, because you're able to give and receive pushback as well. You know, you're not like some other podcasters. If you don't agree with them, they want to block you. Or find part when I call in and I call him out on
I'm
his
aware
BS,
of that.
And he blocks you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So let's check this out. We ain't like that, my boy. You different. And guess what? And that's why I rock with you, my boy. You a solid ass dude, and I respect that. Now, guys, just enjoy the moment, man. This is what we wanted. This is what we wanted to be. To sit back and watch the chips fall down wherever they fall down to, and we'll pick up the crumbles and put them back down. Who gives a damn? You know what I mean? We are who we are because we say who we are, and we believe on who we are. Marcus Freeman is a hell of a coach, and he's growing to become a phenomenal coach. The moment in the window is here. This is what we've been waiting for. This is our moment. Enjoy it, guys, because let's see how long it lasts. And we're going to ride with this team, win or lose. Yeah. We're going to hold our head up high, and I'm okay with losing. But as long as you lose with some dignity and pride, I don't care about the outcome of that. You know what I mean? If they're able to look at themselves in the mirror and see each other next to each other and say, hey, I gave you my all and you gave me your all, and it is the best team wins. It's simple as that. That's when you play the sport. But other than that, we shouldn't be complaining and be worried about other stuff. We're just worried about ourselves. And let's get ourselves healthy. Let's get love healthy. And let's get right and start learning how to read better and throwing the ball better. And these receivers start making some separation, because that's our Achilles heel. If we want those recruits, we need to show these recruits right now, 26, 27, 28, Notre Dame's a new era. There's a new time. There's a new coming. This is Notre Dame coming. So if you want to be part of something special, come to Notre Dame. Because why? Because this is what we can do. And this is what we can do for you and for your life. So period.
Yeah, it's man, I'm with you. And I like the confidence. I like this team. It has a different personality. I like everything about it. I just think this is Notre Dame's big opportunity, man. I'm with you. And whoever the draw is, you got to go beat them. And you have the advantage of the home crowd and the home weather, the home vibes, and all that stuff. And we're going to ride it, baby.
Yeah, and that's what I love about Marcus Freeman. Like he said over the summer, he shows up to his press conference with a $40,000 watch and a $20,000 suit. And guess what? He grabs the bull by the horn, not by his tail. Let's go, Irish. Let's all stand up and let's live over our team.
I like it, man. I like it. Hey, enjoy the games tomorrow, and then we're going to see who we play Sunday, and then we'll go from there.
Temple.
Have a good one, buddy. Man, I loved it. We got some energy on this show. Martinez, you're my main man, dude. You don't have to apologize for anything. It's totally like, call in here and tell me what you think. It's all good, man. It's all good. Kent, he's rejuvenated by the Ohio State Renaissance. He's calling it now. Notre Dame versus Ohio State national championship game. Kent, you know what would be good about that is it would just be a north on north, old school power football, brand name battle. And it wouldn't have anything to do with any of the teams down south. And they would be all so pissed off. It would be hilarious. John, thoughts on Belichick in college football? I think it's interesting. Best friends with Saban could essentially assemble Saban's old staff. Here's my thought. He wouldn't want to do any of the BS work you have to do. But I don't know if he would have to attract top talent. Does that make sense? Like, in no world do I see him haggling over NIL with some 17-year-old and having the patience to deal with like that whole world. But I also don't know if he would have to, because he might just be able to do whatever he wants to do by him just being him and land guys. Because I felt like in no world do I see him doing a bunch of extra recruiting. It's not going to happen. So you would have to have him not need that. You would have to have him not need that. And he might just not, because of who he is. And then have good coordinators or whatever that handle the recruiting. But I just don't see him wanting to do that. His name would be the recruiting pitch, and that's it. I do not see that guy on the road flying around to recruit. I just don't see it. Maybe for like a quarterback or something, but I just don't see that. So I don't know. But I have no doubt that he's a good coach and he would make that part work. It's just all the extra stuff I don't see. I don't see that guy wanting to go to the Rotary Club of the Chicago Suburban Notre Dame Alumni Club and talking. It's just not going to happen. So I don't know. 502, what's going on?
Hey, John, thanks for taking my call. A few things, if I may.
Certainly.
One, the attitude of this team is absolutely fantastic. Prime example was the USC game with Riley Mills. The only thing I wish he'd done is taken that boy's helmet off before he punched him.
Yeah.
And then to see Watts run down the sideline, I really would love to know if he was jawing at them or if he was just smiling at them.
That was nice. That was just wasn't that just the cherry on top, man? Just clowning them, stunning on them the whole way down the field. It was really, truly a beautiful way to end the season.
Yeah, and 2 in a row is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Second point, defense has been great all season. They've been the backbone of this team and this program. And the USC game, I think they got their kind of bad game out of the way. So I'm not worried about the defense going forward. They got their what I'll call their bad game out of the way, even though they did finish with 2 pick sixes at the end of the game.
Now, okay, let me ask about I'm sorry, man. Do you see what Mark with glasses typed in? He said, this guy sounds like a manager. So I think your voice is having an impact on the chat. You sound important to the chat.
All right. Well, I'll make this last point quick, John, and then I'll get off so I don't bore anybody with bore the chat room. Is there a better story being written, in your opinion, this season for college football than the Notre Dame story?
It truly is a really good redemption run. It very much is a good redemption run. And it's, I don't know. I just think it's the schedule is going to weigh down the credit that it gets. That's my opinion, is that some of the schedule in retrospect is going to weigh down what a run it was. But man, this was high stress, high pressure, playoff elimination almost the entire season, and they did it.
Yeah, I have a very good feeling about how this story is going to end, and how amazing would it be for us to end this story on. You know what happened 100 years ago in Notre Dame land, John?
Oh, wasn't that it was the Four Horsemen year and all that, right? 24.
24 is our first national championship. How about we do that? Celebrate that
100-year anniversary. Oh my gosh, that is beautiful. I love that. Okay, let's advance this forward. Do you have any thoughts? I'm sure you've been hearing the discussion about matchups of the bracket. How much have you thought about that? How much does that matter to you? Will take anybody in round 1, or do you have preferences that you would prefer us to ease into this? What are your thoughts? How do you think Notre Dame fans should be processing that part of this?
Well, the thing is, nobody knows. I think there's going to be 3 wrenches thrown into the works this weekend. You know, if we see Alabama to start, hey, that's fine with me. If we do have the cold weather, that'll kind of negate people worrying about Riley Leonard's long passing game, right? I mean, if it's blizzard and snowed out, no one's going to be throwing the ball anyway. So I think that might be kind of an advantage for us.
Yeah, I think the way Notre Dame likes to win football games plays favorably for not only just this game, but this kind of tournament. If you think about it, like, I understand everybody loves a good passing game or whatever, but if you play really good defense and you can run the ball a little bit, and you got a guy like Love and Price back there, that's a good recipe to be in a lot of games and competitive against a lot of teams. I just think that's a very, very competitive couple of things to be able to say you're going to bring to the ballpark every day.
I agree. It sure would quiet down the NIU naysayers though, if we saw Alabama in the first game.
Do you agree that once you make it in the playoff field, that really can't be held against you anymore, because it's a total clean slate from then? And if you win 4 games, you're going to be the champion, whether you lost to Northern or not. So, like, I almost think once that seeding is set, it's a clean slate. Nobody has any record, good or bad. Am I thinking of that wrongly?
Yeah. No, I think you're right. But Notre haters are going to be Notre haters, and it doesn't matter what we do, right?
Yeah.
They all want to be us. They all want to represent what we represent, and they can't. So.
Yeah, it's this is going to be really, really interesting. Sunday's going to be interesting. We are finally going to know what's in front of us. Instead of all the speculation, we'll actually be able to zone in on this bracket and see where Notre Dame lands and what these matchups are. In this next couple weeks is going to be a big buildup, and I am excited for it, man. This is
fantastic.
These fans deserve this, man. You have something to really, really be excited about on the high end and a few weeks to enjoy it, and this is going to be great.
Yep, let's hope for a 100th year anniversary of another national championship.
Oh man, that'd be a beautiful, beautiful thing. And again, man, now you're the second caller with a great voice on this show. Thanks for calling, man.
My pleasure. Happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas and go Irish.
Have a good one. Thank you very much. You know what was funny? 2 times I mentioned it, he didn't really indulge there. I want him and Bruce doing dual commercials. I want them both. They got golden pipes. My pipes are broken. They got golden pipes. Dude, this ecosystem's weird. We're a weird group. You guys ever think about it? You ever realize that we're a little bit weird? People were asking if I'm going to the game. We're trying to figure all that out, okay? I'm trying to figure all of that out. Patrick, this is a terrific idea. I have some topics I want to cover that will require more than a phone call. Can we record next week? I absolutely love that. We got a little runway now without a time crunch between games week to week and you're on a schedule, whatever. Now we can sit back and breathe a little bit. Pat, I would love it. I would love it very, very much. Yes, John, we are off the typical ND spectrum. Good. And I knew when I started this silly program in 2016, there had to be more people out there that thought a little differently about things. There will be a show Sunday. I don't know. I may have family stuff. I'm not sure if it's going to be able to be live or not, but there will be a Sunday reaction to whatever our bracket is like. Okay. I have two extra tickets. You have Adam. Come on, man. We're taking one thing at a time here. This is serious stuff. Rick with the $50 holler. Rick is in here as a Texas A&M. If you don't know it, I say it every time. Rick's a Texas A&M guy. Found us in August in the build, or maybe even July, in the build up to the Notre Dame A&M opener. And he's been here ever since. And every single week he's saying, good luck to Notre Dame. Good. Hope you win. You have a good team, an exciting coach. Like, he has been nothing but supportive. Total class act. He has been in here like supporting Notre Dame and being nice to this show. Donates a bunch. I really appreciate it. And if Rick ends up coming to South Bend when A&M comes to visit us next year, he needs to be treated right and well. And I hope I could be there to do that. Congrats to the Irish. I was hoping for a rematch with the Aggies. We didn't deliver. I'll have to wait till next year. Looking forward to some great games. Hope the Irish fans appreciate the show. Good luck in the playoffs. Gig them. $50 holler. Really, really appreciate it. And here's the thing, man. Texas A&M is in good hands. You're going to have, I can guarantee you, man, you're going to have a healthy culture there, and he's going to build it up, and you're going to have a tough, competitive football team. And I'm confident in saying that. You got a good one. And Rick, I could tell you're a good person. That's the other thing, Rick. And then Todd, I'm coming to you. What's the other thing, man? It's a big deal to me that Notre Dame wins, but Notre Dame does it with a coach that I respect how he operates. Didn't have that with some recent coaches at Notre Dame, and I do have that with Marcus Freeman. I think he's a genuinely good guy. Same thing for your guy in Alco. Same thing for Alco. And that, I just think that matters to me. Maybe some people don't. It still matters to me. I want Notre Dame to win with the guy that I think of that way. You got one like that too. And so 716, you're in the mix. What's going on?
Hey, haven't talked to you in a while. Been listening to the program. Hope your Thanksgiving, everything went well.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, it's these are exciting times, my friend. I want to know what you think of these matchups. What do you want to see Notre Dame get or not get or avoid? How are you thinking of this stuff?
Well, I'm the type of person that says at some point you got to play the big boys to win. So why not start out with them and knock them off and then look at the rest of the schedule.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, once you take care of the big boys,
but I
this
love
weekend-
that theory. I love
Go
that
ahead.
theory. If you can assure me you're going to win and not get knocked out in round 1, where you have an easier round 2 game if you make it. Like this, that is a risky way to live, because it's great if you pull it off. It's horrible if you fall short. And I'm just saying, why not avoid that for a round? Have an easier warm-up game, cross off 30 years of bad big bowl game history, advance to round 2, then play a better roster. Like, I'm getting picky, Todd.
I used to have this theory, we'd play a lot of softball and we'd be in tournaments and get a draw. I said, hey, if we get the big boys, let's look at it like this. No guts, no glory. Let's hope that's our story.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, again, I want to repeat. It doesn't mean you're scared to play Alabama. It just means they're a good, talented roster. But Notre Dame should have the advantage. You know what? Something else I'm thinking about. When we talk about all this weather, at what point does the weather get so bad it doesn't hurt either team and it takes away your home field advantage? Like, what would that look like? It's in my mind because I don't know what the weather's going to be. Like, there has to be a line to where it doesn't help the home team either, and you don't want it to go below that. I'm thinking of this.
Well, yeah, you can come here and play in Western New York. We only got like 20-something inches of snow. We got about 18 on the ground right now. So
yeah, I did.
so
That is wild.
I wanted to talk about the bracket, and I seen this bracket last night on TV. This guy had, and it was called the Mayhem bracket or something like that.
Okay,
and it was so crazy. He had UNLV upsetting Boise, so UNLV was going to be the 12th seed, and they were going to end up playing Ohio State, and Penn State was going to be in there. And Clemson was going to be in there, and Georgia was going to be in there, and it had us actually playing Indiana, and it was wild if that happened. But I'm looking at these games this weekend, and I just don't see how Sportsline can favor Penn State over Oregon. I can't see this because I think Oregon has too much team speed for Penn State to handle. I really do. I mean, they got more speed. But when you look at it this too, if he hadn't have, I don't want to call it this to coach Oregon, but legally cheated, and then they changed the rule the next week, where he put the 12 guys on the field, they take the penalty, but the problem is they can't reset the clock, so Ohio State runs out of time. And that was really thinking outside the box, and it had to be because the NCAA come out next week and says, no, we can't allow this to happen where you do that on purpose. But hey, thinking outside the box, I would have never thought of that. That was crazy. But that's how they beat Ohio State, is because of that penalty. They didn't have the time to run what they needed to run.
Yeah.
Oh, but I just can't see Penn State. I just don't think they have the speed to keep up with Oregon.
Yeah, that would surprise me too.
I'm looking at the game.
And I wonder how bad did they, here's the important thing. How bad do they have to lose to flip with Notre Dame, and then Notre Dame moves into the 5 and avoids the tougher run? That's the question, isn't it?
Well, I can't believe that the committee hasn't been sitting on this the whole thing. I mean, nobody's asked Heather Dinich that question. And she's a Notre Dame grad, by the way, if nobody knows that. But anyways, I can't believe nobody's asked the question to her. How does the committee rank a team losing to, like them losing to Ohio State, more valuable than Notre Dame, basically? And people said, oh, you won at the last minute. No, that's what defenses do. They take over the game to win the game. And because defenses win championships, offenses score points. So the thing is how do they value that loss to Ohio State better than what we beat Southern Cal by? Because that was the common ground game between us and Penn State.
Yeah.
I don't understand how they still keep them.
Is it because is that where Northern Illinois comes into play, and they hold it against Notre Dame for having that loss that is so bad it's off the reservation bad? Maybe that's where that comes into play.
Yeah, but then look at the teams that we beat, and who's their signature win?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Illinois?
Yeah, that's a very, very
signature win. Illinois.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So
right.
Then do you think what do you think it is then? Big Ten bias? Is that what you think?
Listen, I watched that Georgia game against Georgia Tech, and I'm going to tell you something. They got job, Georgia Tech did. That kid stole that ball at the goal line. There's no way. I watched that repeat. I kept watching it over and over. The kid for Georgia is going down. Now, I'm looking at his leg underneath. And before his leg hits the ground, he's going down. Well, the guy from Georgia Tech is at least 1.5 feet away from him. His body is away from his upper torso, is away from the Georgia running back's torso. But how come all of a sudden the leg hits, and the next thing you see, the guy's got the ball in his chest 2 feet away from the other kid's torso? That ball had to be loose. There's no way when that guy hit the ground and instantly that guy's got the ball in his chest. No, that was loose. That was loose. There's no doubt in my mind. But that's the Georgia brand. Just like I said before, when they played Kentucky I'm looking and there's a penalty and they go, oh, we got a face mask. And I said, you sure do. You just ripped the helmet off the running back for Kentucky. No, they go back and they call the penalty for the offensive lineman just grazing the defensive lineman's face mask. Didn't grab it, just grazed it with his hand. And I go, how did you miss the other penalty?
Yeah.
Once again, Georgia bias.
Yeah, there's been a lot of that, man. I am so frustrated with officiating. It just seems really bad
God.
in both leagues. It just seems specifically bad. So I don't know, man. What do you make of Notre Dame's signing day? That's something else I wanted to bring up. Do you have any thoughts on the class that Notre Dame just wrapped up?
Well, I'm trying to get in and read the bios on these guys, and for some reason in past years you're able to look at the bios. All they do is show you that video so fast that everybody with their picture and their uniform on. But I'm looking at the fact that he got a kicker at the end, correct? He got a kicker. He said
I believe so. But here's the thing, though. I don't value Notre Dame recruiting a kicker. That is a position Notre Dame should be able to go in the portal and get easily anytime they want it from a punter or a kicker. Notre Dame should be able to dip in the portal and find a kicker. That is a different market than any other market. Anyways, that's my opinion.
Yeah, because let's think about this. The other day, weren't you talking about grab a kid off the soccer team, right?
It worked for Reggie O.
Hey, listen. Here's what happened. My son David, long story, but my wife and I were divorced, whatever. And then David went out to live with his mom for a few years, and he was in high school, and he played on the soccer team, and the coach recruited him to kick the extra points and stuff for the football team.
Uh-huh.
So don't tell me it isn't possible, because it is possible. Those soccer kids, it's soccer style kicking. All they got to do is learn how to kick the football. I don't know if they would have to, because when you're hitting a round ball, it's different than hitting a sphere.
Yeah.
And so they could do that. But yeah, you could get somebody off the soccer team.
Yeah.
Very easily.
I need them to figure it out. Just figure it out. Like whether you can trust it or not trust that the guy's healthy or not. You need to enter the postseason play knowing either we have to have 2 plays to get a first down or score, or here's a distance we can trust a kicker or not. It just can't be in the middle, floating around in nowhere land. So I don't know. And we're going to see Sunday. I expect Monday's show to be a wild one. When we actually know what we're dealing with here, we could all react to it. Anything else, my friend?
Yeah, I'm getting back to the bracket. Some of the monkey wrenches that can get thrown into this, legitimately get thrown into this, could be if Clemson beats SMU.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because I'm figuring Penn State's going to get beat.
Okay.
Now,
but you're telling me then that you trust this committee to leave in the bracket in SMU and bounce out in Alabama. You're telling me you trust them to make that decision between those 2 brands? Because that's what would have to happen, right?
Who would get kicked out? Would they
Alabama?
kick out SMU?
I think Alabama would bounce. SMU would take that spot at the bottom, and it would bounce Alabama out. And Clemson would be automatically in for winning that bad conference, and then they would keep in a SMU team with less losses than Bama.
Yeah, and the other thing that amazed me is, and I look at it this way, if you want to talk Big Ten bias, I filled my bracket out ahead of time. And I said to my wife, I said, hon, watch this when it comes up and tell me if I'm right. Well, I had Ohio State and Tennessee, but I had Tennessee hosting Ohio State because I thought Ohio State would fall further. once again, I think the reason they got Ohio State hosting Tennessee, you can't let one of your bell cows in the Big Ten go down and play in Tennessee. You can't. And that's what I hate. It's called politics. I hate it. Go on the merit of each team, of what each team's done, and look at that.
Yeah.
But anyways,
12 is tough too, though. It's really tough too. It was sometimes challenging enough to decide 4. 12 is tough because there's just no way there isn't going to be some unbalanced conferences and schedules and results. And how you write all of those inconsistencies, I don't know the answer.
Well, I'll tell you this. Here's something I was thinking of talking about is that I looked at all the conferences. Only there's 2 conferences that played 9 conference games, and that's the Big 10 and the Big 12. Now, several years ago, Nick Saban lobbied for the SEC to play 9 conference games. They only play 8, as well as the ACC only plays 8. And actually, the Mountain West this year only played 7 conference games because the teams either played Washington State or Oregon State, or some of them played both of them. And they kind of let that float, but that's only 7 conference games. And I'm thinking, like, it's 7 conference games, guys. Come on. What do you got? You got like 16 teams in your league? But anyways, I think that they should do this if they really want to do it. All of your Power Fours will play 9 conference games, and then the 3 games that are off, they have to play, or whatever. They have to have at least one more Power 4 team, which would be including Notre Dame.
Okay.
And then the only 2 off schedule they could have, they would have to come from the group of 5. I see teams that are in SEC playing FCS teams. No.
Yeah.
I don't buy that.
Yeah.
I don't buy
there's
that.
a
we
lot
don't play Little Sisters of the Poor. Right? And I think as far as the group of 5, right? The group of 5. So you can only schedule 2 group of 5s and everything else, 9 conference games and then 1 other Power 4. I think as far as the group of 5s, they can play their group of 5, but for one of their off games, they have to schedule a Power 4.
Yeah.
Or they could do 2 Power 4s, but they can't schedule any FCSs either, because they're still considered Division 1, even though they're in the group of 5. And I think that would settle a lot of things. I think you'd see a lot more parity. Parity has come because of the travel, I believe, that some of the leagues have to make.
It's the elimination of the divisions too. That's what it is. So hey man, I want you to give me a call after we know these matchups. Give me a call next week and let's break this down once we know the bracket.
Yeah. Because I'm just hoping that like I said, I think there's going to be some upsets this weekend. The thing is, it's tough to beat a team twice. So I don't know if Georgia can beat Texas twice.
Yeah. We'll see.
I don't know.
We'll see what we can can come up with. Hey man, enjoy the games with no Notre Dame stress. Okay. It'll be the last time for a while.
Yeah. Sit back and watch the carnage accumulate. Right?
There you go. And then we'll see what happens Sunday, and we'll be reacted to it Monday. Thanks a lot, man. Take care. Get out of that snow, man. Get out of that snow. Have a good one. That's a lot of snow. I'm sorry. That's a lot of snow. That's you guys. That's a lot of snow. The Ohio podcast. A lot of you guys saw this during that call. Hey, everybody. You don't have to do a $10 holler for that, Eric. I would have been happy to put it up for you no matter what. Wife's niece who has spina bifida has her 39th surgery. She's 12, developed an infection spreading, and she needs a miracle. Her name is Grace. It's a good Notre Dame name, Grace Hall. It's all lining up. Please pray for her. And then Eric put in there that he's coming here because he knows a lot of us as Notre Dame people are believers. I'll try and get a grotto candle lit. I always just believe grotto candle prayers count as a little more. So be happy to do that. And Eric is good people, friend of the show, friend in real life, really, really good person. And so, yeah, we will, we're happy to do that for you. We really are. Again, Rick, really appreciate the $50 holler here. I genuinely do. All right, guys, that's going to be it for the show today. I got some things I need to do here on a Friday. And this is a big weekend. This is a big, big weekend. We're going to actually find out what this is going to look like for Notre Dame. And it's going to be really, really nice to be able to move this to the next stage. And the next stage is figuring out what your bracket looks like and exactly what the roadmap's going to be. And from there, it's going to be a couple weeks of speculation and build up of what this run could be into what will be. It's going to be history, you guys. It's going to be history. And if you can win this game, it's going to be a different kind of history. No problem, Eric. It's the least we could do. And so this is going to be, it's going to be interesting. I will have something for you Sunday when this all gets announced. I am not sure whether it is going to be live or a video. I'm just not quite sure. So stay tuned, but we're definitely going to have a reaction to that. So everybody, thank you for the donations. Thank you for the chat. Yeah, we'll do something Sunday. I don't know what it's going to be. May not have time for a live show, maybe later. I don't know. So we'll see. But I'm definitely going to have something out for you. And then we'll be here Monday. Thanks to everybody that donated, everybody that called. Appreciate you. Enjoy the football with no Notre Dame stress. It's going to be the last time for a while. Take care, guys. We'll see you Sunday.